Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Matt Bernier, the DRFBets race of the day for Thursday, July the 18th. Race number 6 at Del Mar. It is the Fleet Treat Stakes for 3-year-old Calbred or sired fillies traveling 7/8 of a mile. Get involved on this nice card at Del Mar on Thursday with a DRFBets account. Learn how to access $150 in risk-free wagers. Let's meet this field, and remember that you can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. Matt and I will take this field in post-position order. We're going to begin with the horse to beat. That's the number 1, Sneaking Out, who had a 4-race win streak snapped just barely in the Grade 2 Summertime Oaks. It was the first time they stretched her out in distance. We love turnbacks going 7 furlongs, and we know this filly's going to be close to the pace, and she's got figs.
I think she's just going to be really tough to beat in a spot like this. You brought up the turn back. That's always a positive. This will be her first time going out for Keith DeSormo and company. That to me, that doesn't make a difference because Keith DeSormo is a great trainer. Look, she finished second in that Summertime Oaks. I thought she ran really well, given that I'm not totally convinced that she really wants to go that far. I think this little turn back is going to hit her right between the eyes. She doesn't have to have the lead, but down on the inside, I think Drayden Van Dyke, I think you just take the race to everyone else and say, come and catch me. I think 6-5 is a little bit wishful thinking. I could see her being in the 2-5 range when it's all said and done. She's strictly the horse to beat.
She's got a break running, though, as you mentioned, from the inside post with speed to the outside. Timeform US believes that the 2, Violet Zabo, will be able to make the early lead in a blue bar situation, which means, according to Timeform, that the race will favor horses on or near the early lead. Violet Zabo, another horse cutting back in distance. Phil D'Amato has had success in the Fleet Treat with cutbacks in the past, horses like Enola Gray. And here's a formulator fact. Over the past 4 years, 3-year-old dirt cutbacks in non-graded stakes, 30% winners, 90% on the board, 232 ROI. I guess if this filly gets loose, she's got an opportunity to pull off an upset, but it is worth noting Sneaking Out had her number earlier in her career.
You know, and we've discussed it in the past. The pace projector, I think, is incredibly valuable and it's incredibly accurate more often than not. This is an instance, though, where I'm just going to disagree with it from a handicapping standpoint, because I think if you are on the horse to beat and Sneaking Out, you don't even want to get cute, potentially get boxed in on the inside if you're Drayden Van Dyke. So Violet Zabo, she's a nice filly, the only victory to date, gate to wire fashion. I kind of look at it and say, if Drayden Van Dyke wants to lead on the 1, they can take it. Now, perhaps they're going to buy into the pace projector, and that's what the connections are going to want. I just wouldn't want to take any chances. I would just say, I'm better than everyone else. I'm going to the front, and if that happens, I don't like Violet Zabo's chances.
I'm going to gamble to 3. Take the Diamond Lane can run a little bit. This is a first-time starter for Brian Carter. They obviously could have found a maiden race. They're going to run for $150,000 here against Sneaking Out. That's a very confident placement. Source sold for $300,000 as a yearling. Is a half to take the 101, who's a multiple stakes winner. The Dam was a stakes winner. The second Dam was a multiple grade 3 stakes winner. And you just look at this work tab. Lots of bullet workouts. I like that she draws outside the 2 speeds. It gives Joe Talamo options, but something tells me she'll be pretty quick from the gate.
This is a very confident move from this barn. Now, Coroner does very well with first-time starters in general, but the idea that you're going to debut not only in a stakes race, but going 7/8 of a mile at Del Mar, this is a really, really sort of gutsy move here. I do think it's worth taking a shot, though. If you think that you've got a horse that has some ability, worst-case scenario, okay, she gets some experience in the afternoon. She'll be able to take a step forward next time out in a maiden race, wherever it may be. I think you can look at it and say, even if she doesn't win, you have a chance to hit the board, get her stakes placed already, and then have that opportunity to say, you know what, let's get back to the drawing board, get the maiden win out of the way, and go from there. But I agree with you. I don't think she would, put it this way, I don't think they would put a horse in here if they didn't think that she had some ability.
Opus 1 is the number 4. She was actually favored over Sneaking Out back at Del Mar last summer. She was beaten that day. She has made hay on the turf. She is another horse turning back in distance. This one for a high percentage trainer, Richard Baltus, but I just have a feeling she's better on the grass.
Yeah, it seems like her form is considerably better on the grass. Her only win to date, in my opinion, I know she sat a half length off at 2 starts back, but I think she needs to be forwardly placed. I'm not convinced she's as fast as the inside fillies.
Tis a Master, another one turning back in distance, hoping that that pace projector with the blue bar is wrong, hoping that perhaps the 1, 2, and 3 mix things up early and that her stamina will help her as she cuts back to 7 furlongs. I thought her most recent race was okay behind Ruby Bradley. Now she gets Mike Smith.
I think she's a little sneaky underneath. I don't think she really has a chance to win in a spot like this, but you brought it up. I mean, Sneaking Out handled her 2 starts back. I don't know that we're going to get such a giant move forward here second off the bench, but if you're playing any kind of an underneath exotic, maybe she's one to use.
Ruby Bradley has already been beaten by Sneaking Out, has already been beaten by Violet Zabo, but is also a stakes winner. She won her maiden in the Malaire last time out. Do you think that was a situation, Matt, where she'd just been waiting to stretch out in distance? And again, while we always talk about liking cutbacks at 7, this filly might actually want more ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. First time stretching out on 2 turns on the dirt, that really sort of moved her up. I also think she was a beneficiary of a pretty hot pace in the middle part. She was able to come and get the job done. I think it's an instance where the turn back and distance, again, if you like a horse underneath or you're looking to play this race from an exotic standpoint, I think she's best used underneath simply because of what you laid out. Maybe she does want more ground, and this is going to be a tougher spot.
There's some things to like about the 7, Hollywood Hills. She won 4 consecutive races over the Tapeta at Golden Gate as a 2-year-old. She is stakes placed on turf going a mile. In her most recent race, it doesn't look good. But remember, she was the only 3-year-old in a field full of older horses. The runner-up came back to buy her 77, went 3rd in her most recent start. She gets Flavien Prat. And here's a formulator fact for the past 30 days for Steve Sherman. 3-year-olds moving from synthetic to dirt over the past month. 44% winners, 7 of 9 on the board, $6.60 ROI. I think this filly comes late.
I was going to say, she's really going to, for me, it boils down to what kind of pace are we going to get? If that blue bar does end up materializing, I think she's up against it. Heck, I think any of the girls trying to come from off of it will be up against it. But I do think there's a scenario. I don't know how likely it is, but I think there's a scenario where they get a little bit racy early on. Maybe it helps set things up for a horse like Ruby Bradley or the 7 Hollywood Hills.
Let's take a look at our top selection for the $150,000 Fleet Treat Stakes. You're going with Sneaking Out. I certainly see that. She is the filly to beat by a long way.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was mildly intrigued with the idea of taking the first-time starter in here, but it is just such a salty spot, a difficult position, not just because it's stakes company and winners, but because it's 7/8 of a mile. I went 1, 3, 6, and 5. Sneaking Out, I think she's just too tough.
I have to use Sneaking Out very heavily in any kind of multiple race wagers, but I want to give the firster a chance. I think she'll be a decent price. It's a very fascinating looking work tab. And if Violet Zombo can keep Sneaking Out, maybe preoccupied early, take the Diamond Lane, can sit the good stalking trip just off. 3176 for me. $150,000 Fleet Treat Stakes is the feature at Del Mar. It's the DRFBets race of the day. Sign up for a DRFBets account, access $150 in risk-free wagering, and start punching away at Del Mar on Thursday. Approximate post time for the Fleet Treat, 4:30 Pacific. Good luck.